On today's episode, we have Tom. He's a dad, partner, founder, and LinkedIn influencer. Tom co-founded the amazing design agency with over 60 employees called Fearless. Fearless bring together some of the smartest creative minds from all corners of the world to solve real-life challenges. This conversation spans depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, meditation, the pressures of work, and psychedelics. Never Fully Heard aims to be a space for men to listen to and engage in vulnerable conversations to improve their mental well-being. I really hope you enjoy the episode. Hi, Tom. Welcome to the first episode of Never Fully Heard. Welcome to the podcast.
Good to be here. I didn't know I was the first one, so it's an honor, pleasure.
Yeah, hopefully the start of a long journey. Where I want to really start the podcast is the beginning of your journey with mental health. I know it's a term that's it's thrown around a lot and means something different to every person depending on their experience, their mindset, everything else. But when did you first understand what mental health even was?
So my mental health journey, I think, started when I first realized what mental health was in a term was probably when I was about 16, so about 11 years ago. And the journey I've been on ever since is sort of trying to understand why I do what I do. So, for example, when I was at school, actually, let's take it a step back. So, I think everything stems from when you're a child. So I experienced a lot of hard sort of childhood trauma, which has sort of stayed with me subconsciously throughout my adulthood. And it's only actually been in the last couple of years that I've really started to understand why I do what I do. And like everything in like the workplace and life always comes back to trauma as a child, because you learn the subconscious patterns of your parents and how you were treated as a kid, and then you manifest that into your adulthood. Mental health to me is so important. I treat mental health just as equally as paramount as like my going to the gym. Every day it's a thing you work on. It's not today I've got good mental health, tomorrow yesterday I had bad mental health. It's a constant thing you got to work on, in my opinion.
When you kind of first started feeling like you realized what mental health was and some of the negative impacts it has, did you proactively reach out for help, or was it a case of leaving it until it was in a bad state and then addressing it?
No, I didn't reach out for help because I didn't know what I was experiencing, because I was subconsciously feeling the pain, the really low sort of states, but not actually understanding why I was feeling that. So I probably had my first therapist when I was like 25. So what, like 2 years ago, which is crazy. And so I think I experienced sort of quite low mental health when I was 16. I was very impulsive as a teenager. I was quite reckless. I would lash out, but now I understand why. And it was because I was trying to deal with the pain and the trauma that I've faced, and it's like a coping mechanism. And like the impulsiveness in me is actually me trying to protect myself from pain that I'm experiencing from the outside world. And it's only by getting therapy that I've managed to get an understanding of it. And then once you have that, I think that's like the first step, the awareness. Then it's actually dealing with the patterns. That's the key. And I think everyone is aware of their mental health a little bit more now, because it's starting to become mainstream, with like the help of like Calm, Headspace and stuff. But I think people still need help addressing those problems in the day-to-day. And that only comes with time.
What was it you found hard about reaching out or starting therapy? What was the hard bit about starting that?
It's the stigma, right? Because as a man, I grew up in a military family, and as a in some societies, like you're not meant to cry, you're not meant to feel feelings, you're meant to just crack on with it, go to work, do your thing, go out the weekend, have fun with the lads, like all that kind of stuff. And so at that time, that was the kind of people I was surrounded with. So I thought that was normal, and so what I was feeling was like completely alien. So no one would actually really understand. So I just had to sort of suffer in in silence.
Mm.
And so I think it was the fear and the feeling I was going to have that feeling of rejection, which then now I know stems from my childhood.
Mm.
So it all links. It's so powerful, man.
So was that almost, there wasn't like a safe space to kind of, you didn't feel that there was like an emotionally safe space to actually say like, I'm really feeling crap here.
Yeah, yeah. There wasn't. And I think at the
Mm.
time it was, 2013, 2014, when I was really quite low, 2015-ish. And at that time, it wasn't really talked about like it is now. I think headspace and calm was starting to get more awareness through meditation and sort of mindfulness, but there was still a huge stigma around it. I remember posting about it the first time ever on LinkedIn in like
Mm.
2016, and it like everyone was like, "Wow, I've never heard this." But now everyone's posting about mental health. It's like it's become the trendy thing. But back then it was still quite a stigma around it, especially
Mm.
male mental health. Like the data shows, right? Suicide under men under 45 is biggest killer, one of the biggest killers. There's a
It's
reason for
crazy.
that because it's the stigma, you know.
Yeah, even though I've gone on my own journey, I still find I'm probably one of the ones in my group that talk about it the most. And even then, I find myself like not saying things in group situations. I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to get taken the mick out of, or like someone's just going to be like, oh, just like let's
Yeah,
just like crack on and have fun.
because
Um,
it's like a generational thing because that's how we grew up feeling like this is our role in society. We can't feel pain, we can't feel emotion. We just got to crack on with it. Our parents grew up like that. So it's a generational thing. So we are now becoming more aware and more mindful of mental health, especially in men, because of like our journeys. So we have the opportunity to stop that generational trauma for our future,
mm.
children, etc. So we are, I believe, we are in such a powerful position to change the direction of how people can get help to help.
And if you could go back to your kind of 2015 self now, and what advice would you give to someone who may be going through that, or would you give to yourself back then?
Oh man. So I remember I was my first job in London. I was in like this boiler room type of mentality. It was like, get on the phones, like make this sale, hardcore BD. And I was so miserable. And I remember like just looking and when I was at the train station going to work, and I was thinking I just want to jump off it. Like I've got like scars here from cutting myself. Like I was in such a dark hole. And the first thing it would be get help, like just talk to someone, like
Yeah.
anyone. It doesn't have to be a therapist. It can just go and call a helpline or whatever. That's the first one. But then also understand why you're feeling what you're feeling. This doesn't just come from nowhere. This comes
Mm.
from your body. Your body is so powerful. It kind of knows the score. It holds a lot of suppression and frustration and anger inside you. So now, the advice I'd give from what I know now to my 20-year-old self is like listen to your body more. Try and release that inner trauma emotions and feelings through like somatic release therapy or going on retreats or something like that. And definitely see a therapist, 100%. But there's also a lot of other things you can do, like that can change your state of being. So like working with your nervous system. So
Mm.
if you can regulate your nervous system, you regulate your emotions. Period. Um, Change your environment.
Yeah.
We discussed as you were coming up as you were coming out of school, right? You chose to go back to marketing from biz dev because you weren't as happy, and I'm guessing now you're in a better state, you're in a better environment, you're happier, you're probably more fulfilled, you have better relationships. So change your environment. Somatic release therapy is so powerful because you release that emotion from the body
Yeah.
and
Do
you
you
just
want to?
let go.
I've heard of it, but I haven't heard that much about it. Do you mind just giving like a quick
Yeah,
idea
it's
what it
in
is?
its in its like true self, it's basically you tune into the body, right? So tune into the body wherever you're feeling some like suppression or tightness, and you sort of just feel it, you talk to it, and then you through any, it can be through sound, it can be through movement, you just release it from the body, and you just, what you do is you move yourself, move from your mind to your body, so your body knows where it's tight, and you just try and you basically release it through your body. So like for me, I do pretty much on a daily basis somatic therapy now, and I release through sound. Some people release through movement, but
Mm-hmm.
for me it's sound. There's like you can go into like crazy YouTube videos and see like Steven Jaggers like do it, or Lucas Mack doing some crazy breathwork somatic release work where you've got people like shouting and crying, but that's like an extreme 90-minute session. But you can do as simple as 5 minutes,
I think
and it
that's I
really
think that
helps, man.
I think that's going to be so especially powerful for men who just like don't express their emotions in the same way, or it's societally not seen the same to
Yeah,
like cry or
yeah,
scream, and that's why I think obviously like gym and movement is powerful, but also just like allowing yourself to like feel those emotions and let them like just go through the body rather than
yeah,
just like staying tense and really going. There's one thing I want
yeah,
to pick up on was the that people just get used to their environment, and I think with you saying of mental health, people don't get help. Like when I
mm,
went through kind of quite like acute depression, anxiety, my brain just got used to it, and I find it amazing in everything in life. Like if you get a higher salary, if you get something, whatever happens, your brain will just get used to it, and
yeah,
it's like that treadmill of just always wanting like the next thing. Or but then that applies to mental health. You can be in a really bad situation, but your brain just continues to like adjust to it and get used to it.
yeah,
So until you remove yourself and totally change your environment, or get someone like a therapist to hold like a mirror up to you and go and like talk you
yeah,
through it and get you to say it yourself, then you just can't appreciate like once I kind of got out of like the mist and the haze of being like really badly anxious and depressed, I was like, that was literally just like a different world
yeah,
to where I'm at now. And I think that, yeah, such an important point for people to realize is like your environment impacts so much. And if you are feeling that way, try changing that.
yeah.
And it could be a
Agreed.
big play for you.
Yeah, and I think, and just going back to like the nervous system, often people, like, you can go through three different stages of the nervous system. You have like connection, when you're in your body, you're in your mind. You have activation without connection. So do you know when like someone cuts you up, you're like
Mm-hmm.
crazy, and like, but you're not actually connected, you're activated. And then you have like this, you're just like really disconnected, and you're just like sad, and like a lot of people who are in depressive state are in this kind of nervous
Mm-hmm.
system. But if they can like get themselves up into connection with their body and their mind, change their that is power. That can be so powerful, coupled with the environment change. But I think definitely like environment is. If I have my three, like top three,
Mm-hmm.
it would be, apart from get a therapist. That's like, everyone should do that. I think everyone should do that anyway, even if you've got good mental health.
Yeah.
Everyone should
Agreed.
have therapy. But it would be change your environment. It would be work on the nervous system, and it would be some sort of release. Because what we are so good at, like, suppressing feelings and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like we go out on the weekend. I obviously I don't, but like people drink and they suppress, and then they have this inner feeling inside, and it's just going to cause pent up anger. You know, and then they go to do weed or whatever, and they're just suppressing it. They're suppressing it, and then one day they erupt with anger, but they don't know what they're erupting at. Actually, it's all the pent up frustration that they're releasing. Then, so some sort of release every day as well would be really key.
And did you ever have that like stage in your journey of mental health of using something to, whether it's just distracting yourself with work or numbing the emotions
Oh
and
yeah,
distracting yourself?
yeah. I mean, probably from like 2017 to 2020. No, 2017 to like 2019. I used to travel every weekend. I used to live on my own in London this time. I used to just work like 14-hour days because I was lonely. I didn't have anything
Mm.
to fill the void. Um, didn't have like a human connection outside of work. So yeah, I was just used to numb myself with work and like work super hard. Yeah, I was making good money and whatever, but so miserable, man. And I didn't have anyone to share. I think so. Having that human connection is yeah, is so important. But
And
I've never used like weed or anything like that to suppress. I just
mm.
used I just mine was work.
Yeah, I think it's something that, from just speaking to quite a few friends and just being like reasonably tapped into like the network on LinkedIn, it seems like a lot of men and young men have a real like pressure on their backs to succeed and to like feel like they're a success, and they don't want to like seem like they're not doing well in front of their friends, or they want to make their like parents proud, or there's all this like pressure going on. And it's, yeah, I think it causes a lot of people to take on jobs and behaviors that they like. The amount of conversations I've
Of
had with
course,
people that go like, I don't like this job, but it pays well, or it like does this, and it's like, and I know you spoke about this
I
on LinkedIn. So how have you dealt with those pressures, and that, yeah,
I love this
the
question,
pressure to
man.
succeed?
Like, it's such a good question, and I think success is different to everyone else. Like everyone knows this, and I think doing the work, the inner work, to understand why you feel what you feel, tap into your body, understand your emotions, and try and visualize what is success to you.
Mm,
If success to you is working in corporate and commuting 5 days a week, then fair enough, that's success to you. But it's not success to everyone else. So understanding what success means to you and define it, and then live true to your values every day. Otherwise, you're just going to cause this constant disalignment, constant unhappiness. All you're going to do is then release it in ways, manifest into other people like negative energy, and you're going to take it out on your loved ones. I've I've been there,
mm.
because that's why I got into recruitment in the first place, was because I thought, oh, I need money. London is like the place to be in it to get money, and like you make 100 grand a year in your first year, and blah blah blah. And I went into it, and I was just so miserable. So defining what success is means to you would be one. And then just constantly visualizing it, and doing the inner work. And I think that's when, and having the courage and the conviction to go for it, but also putting yourself in the environment and surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up, not put you down. You are
Mm.
you'd have heard the saying, you're the product of your environment, you know.
Yeah.
And I
What
think
what
just staying true to yourself. Like there's this quote that I love, and I think it's like it's so true in like society. Um it's it says, I am not who I think I am. I am not who you think I am. I am who you think I am. It's like we live in this perception-based society. Jay Shetty has spoken a lot about this. That we're living our lives literally based on what we think people think about us. The fuck? That's so
Yeah,
tiring.
I've got goosebumps. I love that quote.
Yeah,
And what just popped into mind after you said that was, it's the amount of people that must stay in a certain way of life because they are thinking, what is my friend going to think of me? What? And
yeah,
I know you've started your own business, so like that takes a lot of courage to deal with. I think it's like social pressure, even in like social situations. People that are introverted, they're so scared of saying what they really feel like because of the fear or perception of others. Even though the amount of times that I know I felt this, like I've woken up from a night out, I happened to be drinking and being like, oh my god, what did I do? So embarrassing. And I said
yeah,
what I did to my friend, and they've gone, oh yeah, no, I didn't even remember that. And it's so much of life is
yeah,
spent. It's like I've had so many. I can't remember what the quote is. I've had so many horrors in my life, most of which have never happened. Um,
yeah.
and
Because it's so true.
yeah, I was just thinking, from starting your own business, you must have dealt with a lot of I don't know, noise from other people or like comments over the time, other businesses thinking like, right, we're just gonna like take them out, we're better than them. How have you always had the courage just to go for it, or was that something you've learned?
So I'm very blessed and lucky. I've got a really good co-founder, Lauren, who's also my
Mm.
life partner. So we're super tight. We sort of egg each other on in that sense. So the journey of starting Fearless was quite crazy. I was about to take a job as a consultant for McKinsey,
Hmm.
and I was like, I even accepted it, and then I realized like, wow, what am I doing? This is going to kill my soul, like literally kill my soul. I need to get out of this. And then started this thing, Fearless. They had no idea how successful it would be. It was meant to just be like a small startup side business. We actually moved to the arse end of nowhere in the countryside to live a different life. And then the pandemic hit, and then we just thought, right, this is literally going to pay for our baby. This is our livelihood, right? So we just had to make it work. And I think a lot of people at the start were like, "Nah, we don't believe in your model. You're not going to be successful as you think you are." It's like fair enough, no worries. We'll just go on to the next one, and we'll just keep iterating, taking their feedback. And I think, but having that conviction in a knowing, no, this will be successful because we are here to make it successful, and we'll pivot when needed. But it's just going back to like doing the work and having that inner conviction and
Mm.
not necessarily ignoring the noise, listening to certain noises, but don't listen to people who you wouldn't get advice from, who you would go to. So yeah, that's it. And then obviously we're now 62 people 3 years in. And we're growing, we're hiring like crazy, and it's been great. And I feel like we're starting to see the reward of all the hard work in the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. We've had people really well known ex founders start businesses with the same name as us and try and take us out, not understanding we've got the
Crazy.
trademark. And so yeah, it's been that's in a whole nother tactical discussion we can talk about there business wise. But yeah, it's been a great journey.
Mm.
Great journey.
And how have you mentally managed the, I guess the, I don't know if you do get these thoughts, but I know I do and other people do, that like the seeds of doubt that can creep in, whether they're just thoughts that randomly pop up, like, is this going to work? Like, wow, maybe it would have been better to take the job at McKinsey. Like all those like little thoughts. How do you
um,
generally deal with them?
so I've found as the business has grown and the more responsibilities that have come on, your emotional container has to grow at the same time. If your
Mm.
emotional container doesn't grow, the business will outgrow you and it will either collapse or you'll have to leave because you literally can't manage the business. So in the last, especially last year, since probably last October, I've had 3 different coaches. I've had one for like lifestyle and like more spiritual inner knowing coach. I've had a tactical business coach and then a therapist to help me increase my emotional resilience, awareness, leadership in order to actually grow the business. Because before, I had no experience of like leadership.
Mm.
Like you knew me at Wiser, right? I was like this rogue person who used to come in, go out, do my own thing. So it's been a crazy journey. I think having a co-founder is like so important. I couldn't do,
Yeah.
I literally couldn't do it without her. Like in the dark, low times, we're in problems with um, people problems or business problem, financial, whatever it is. We're there to support each other, and I think you can't replicate that human connection piece. But I think it always goes back to, for me, the inner work. I talk about this inner work, the work a lot.
Mm.
It's that's time to self-reflect, that time to heal, that time to nurture and deal with traumas and how you show up every day for yourself and for your team. You can only do that by doing the work, and then all the other things will fall
Mm.
into place. You can always learn to run a business on the tactical stuff, P&Ls and new business and that kind of stuff. But if you can't lead a team and you're a dysfunctional leader with a dysregulated nervous system, they're going to walk. They're not going to want to work for you. We all know about toxic bosses environments. It's because they have dysregulated nervous systems. They're like dysfunctional leaders. So yeah, it's been a crazy growth journey. Honestly, and I'm still going through that. Like just this week, had a really sort of hard time in my life and period, and I've had to just crack on and show up. But that's when having a coach and therapist really just levels you up, man.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people. There's this thing right between going to therapy. There's like between stimulus and response. There's like a gap, and a lot of times people just don't know how to deal with that. They basically, when stimulus happens, they emotionally react and they automatically get triggered, and then that triggers like physical reaction, stress, anxiety. And it seems like through the coaches, the therapy, the breathing, the making sure not to like drown yourself in between work
Yeah,
and home, it's you've managed to really like get a grip on that like moment between stimulus and response. And yeah, it's,
most of
it's
the
it's
time.
cool to see like how much effort
Yeah,
that's gone into it. And I think a lot of people never really see that. They only see the success and they don't see the work that's
yeah.
gone into the control.
Yeah. It's been a crazy journey. I think I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I'm not like for me. This never stops. This never ends. The other thing, just to talk about mental health and the inner work, is the use of psychedelics. So for me, the use of psychedelics is growing, and the science, like with magic mushrooms,
Hmm.
like LSD, like all this stuff is only growing in popularity. And I personally think it's in 10 years' time, it's going to be as popular as like meditation is now, and where meditation was 10
Yeah.
years ago, for example. Um, because we are living in such a like connected world, but we're also the most disconnected and unhappy we've ever have been. So people are using these substances to feel better and be happier, and I'm all for that. One of the most powerful experiences I've ever had, is the use of ayahuasca. So I went to Costa Rica in
Yeah.
April, and I did an ayahuasca ceremony, a private ceremony with two of the most prestigious leaders in what they call the Colombian lineage.
Hmm.
So ayahuasca is basically two plants. You've got the DMT part, and then you've got the inhibitor. You cook it, they brew it, and it's like a thick substance. I don't know if you ever researched ayahuasca or done much into it.
Yeah, so I'm really interested in the psychedelic world. A guy called Tim Ferriss is who
Yeah,
I follow, like is really into it. And also interestingly, especially after the whole slap scandal, Will Smith at the end of his book, which is literally one of the best books I've ever read, talks about his 14 ayahuasca journeys that he's gone
oh
on
wow, okay,
when dealing with like all the trauma from his childhood. So
yeah,
yeah, interested to hear how your experience was.
okay, okay. So, oh man, I get like goosebumps just like feeling back to the moment in the ceremony. But it was the most, yeah, so crazy experience. So what they brew it for like days, months, and it's what they call the medicine. So basically, we there was five of us. Normally in the ceremonies you have like 20, 30 people, but because this was a private one, I had like full dedication of like three really experienced practitioners, which was just amazing. So it was like 8 p.m. So you go through the night, 8 p.m. to like 8 a.m. So 8 p.m. I'm like a nervous wreck, man, because like I've gone out to the jungle not knowing any of these people.
Mhm.
About to drink his medicine. I've seen these crazy stories on YouTube and the internet. And my biggest fear in life is death and letting go.
Mm.
And I'm about to let go. I'm about to drink a substance like
Yeah.
medicine, which is gonna. I don't know how I'm gonna react to it. So that's just like the inner work, just going to the ceremony. So it was 8 p.m. We did like what they gave us our spiritual. We gave them our spiritual payments, like what we want to get out of the evening.
Hmm.
Mine was to face my childhood trauma, relive it, let it go, and come back to the UK with positive energy and lead and grow with my team. And then you have everyone has their own like beds and stuff. So we went back, and then they called me up, they did a blessing, they gave me the medicine, which was like just a small dose because obviously I was new to it. Went back to sleep, nothing. I didn't feel anything. It was crazy. I was like, oh, what's this? The next one, they bring me up again about 11. I think it probably would have been about 10, 11 p.m.
Yeah.
It happens, by the way. You can have an experience of ayahuasca that nothing happens for the first one. So then went up again. They gave me bigger dose. They're like, right, enjoy, go back to your bed and just be with it. We never know what's going to happen. Half an hour later, I'm up, I'm shouting, I'm in pain. I'm because the medicine is now kicking in, because the medicine works by cleaning you inside and out. So going to the bathroom, being sick, everything. And I'm in just like this world of pain. I'm like, I need this to stop. I need this to stop. Like everything's spinning. They're like, you're okay, brother. This is all part of the process. What you're going through is completely normal. That was incredible. And then I went through this really dark phase where I felt like I was reliving like a really bad childhood trauma experience. And I started to see people that had abandoned me, and started to talk to them and say like why, and I could feel them talking back to me, and I started to release that and let that go. Then I was experiencing all these people that I've hurt and all that kind of stuff. It was incredibly powerful to just let it all go and experience that. Then I went on to this good high. So I was like laying down outside, like looking at the stars and seeing these stones and going, oh, what a beautiful stone. And just like, I was in a really nice moment. And then the real healing came when they said, okay, now it's time to go to sleep and go back in your bed and just be with it. I was like, okay. At this time, I was like just making sure I was alive. I was checking my trainers and just.
And were you still kind of like in the moment
Dude, I
still?
was out of it. Yeah. I was completely out of it. But I can remember it, but I was out of it, if that makes sense. So then I went back to lay in bed, and at this time I was still fighting the medicine. So if you fight the medicine, it's just going to delay the process and it's going to delay the healing. So I was still fighting it. I was doing like weird shit, like making sure my trainers were still on to make sure I'm still alive, trying to remember my daughter's name to make sure, okay, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Because I was scared, like I was dying. And so I remember going back to my thing around fear of death and letting go. I was facing this. Then I thought, and then suddenly I was fighting it, and out of nowhere, I got this vision of Lauren and Kika, my daughter, saying, "It's okay, let go, just let go. We're here." So I let go, and I saw all these like pink, green, blue snakes in my eyes, and then this out of nowhere, this like what they call the grandmother, the medicines. The grandmother came and just said, "It's okay, I've got you. I'm not going to abandon you." And that was going back to my childhood trauma. And I was like, then I was just like in tears and like crying. He said, "I'm going to look after you." And then I felt like I was floating up to the clouds in the sky. And I've never felt for like an hour or two so much inner peace. There
Was
was
that
no
like
noise.
really,
It
really
was,
helping that, like the inner child that is spoken about a lot with therapy? Like you felt like you'd kind of been present
yeah,
with that inner child and really
yeah,
just,
absolutely. And I think, and then, so I had a just incredible experience there. You release so much, man. And then I went through a bad cycle again because you go up and down all night. And then they gave me a blessing with like stinging nettles. They like bash you like with stinging nettles. They put this lotion on you, and it actually does help. It's crazy. And then in the Colombian lineage, after like 3 a.m., they then bring out the music and you start like dancing and celebrating life and all that kind of stuff. And it was great. And then went back to sleep and then woke up the next day and I was like, no, I'm alive now. I'm alive. Like I'm here. And that moment where you feel, oh, I'm alive. it's euphoric. Like you're like, wow, I'm alive. Like I
Mm.
and your fears of like, I don't know, client landing. It's like it was insignificant, isn't it? So
Mm.
it's helped me a lot with like just letting go and that kind of stuff. So ayahuasca's not for everyone because it is like a really deep, powerful, and you'll know when you're ready for it. Some people aren't ready for it, but I was, and it's helped me profoundly. And like I can always go back to, if I just close my eyes, I can always go back to the moment with that feeling. So tap into that every day. Tap into the emotions I want to feel. So it's been good.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's always interesting that it seems to take people back to their childhood, and as you said, their childhood trauma, and it seems like everyone's got that like inner child that didn't. I mean, some people did, but some people didn't get the love, the attention, the support, and to be able to, whether it's through therapy or ayahuasca, just to go back and sit with that child and really have
Yeah,
presence with it and to reframe it is so important for people because otherwise it's like one of those games like whack-a-mole. If you push it down somewhere, it's going to pop
yeah,
back up somewhere else.
exactly.
You've
Yeah,
just got to be able to like sit with it
yeah, yeah.
and reframe
No,
it.
it's been a powerful journey. Like I said, it's an ongoing thing, and now I think we're in a really privileged position where we can really help others. Especially, I'm personally really passionate about mental health, male
Yeah.
mental health. So I think we're in the right trajectory, but still a lot of work to go.
Yeah, thank you so much for
Pleasure, man.
the podcast. It's been an amazing chat, and how I want to finish is if you could say one thing for people to try changing in the next week, what would it be?
It would be to start some sort of release therapy to release and tune into your body, get out your mind, tune
Mm,
into your body, release that tension through movement, through sound, through voice, whatever it is, and just start to release those emotions.
love it. Thank you.